Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel, Planning with Bree. I am Brianna Kechelle, and today we are going to be setting up my 2023 prayer journal. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you guys how I pick out my colors. So I had someone ask me in the comments a few months ago, a few videos ago, why I numbered my markers, and this is exactly why. I number my markers because when I have a color scheme in mind, it is so much easier to look at these cards and to pick out the numbers of the colors I like. Because just like I'm showing you right here, sometimes the markers are a little deceiving. The caps of the markers don't really match the true color of the marker. And I know that the one I just showed you was not that far off, but some of them really are. So then after I pick out the colors I think that I want, I go ahead and swatch them on a piece of white paper. And this is the color scheme that I will be using today. So this is the notebook that I'm going to be using. It is an Artist Loft notebook from Michaels. I didn't want anything too crazy because, like I said, this is my prayer journal and I may or may not be traveling with this to church, just depending on the day and what I plan to put in it. So of course, the first thing I am going to write in this journal is my name. And let me tell you, being able to write my name fully all over this page was so fun. Instead of trying to fit it on that measly line that they give you at the beginning of some journals, this one did not have that line anyway, but I still enjoyed writing my name super big on that page. So this is some advice to you. If you have not tried filling the entire first page with your name, just try it one time. If you're scared to do it in the front because you're scared you're gonna mess it up, do it in the back first or practice it in pencil and just live your life. So this first page is going to be my prayer for 2023. So I like to start my journals with goals and the purpose of the journal. So instead of writing a goals page, since I have that in my bullet journal already, I'm going to include a prayer over the entire year of 2023. My decorations for this setup are going to be what I think is very simple. I'm going to be doing some one-line drawings that I really enjoy doing. I've been doing these for almost a year now, on and off, and they are going to be of some flowers. I always mess up the name. I think these are lotus flowers. I'm pretty sure these are lotus flowers. And I'm going to be using some hand lettering with these Crayola markers that I showed you guys. Oh, if I didn't mention it, guys, those were Crayola markers at the beginning. I bought the 100 pack and I ended up with 120 markers. So those are the markers that I was looking through. I did decide to do this color scheme because I was inspired by the mint green of the journal. It is just such a fresh and light color that I think will be very pretty for the entire year, no matter what the season is. So this next page, I decided to do a one-line drawing of these hands of a woman kind of embracing herself and then a flower as her head. This one was a little bit more challenging because I usually only do one-line drawings of more simple shapes. Trying to draw the hands, even though it's not a full hand, was not the easiest thing to do, but I think I was able to do it kind of successfully. So I also decided to change out the color of the flower to that darker peach pink color instead of that highlighter pink, and I'm glad I did because I think it goes very well with this light mint green that I chose. So after I finish putting some color on the flower, I am going to write out the Bible verse Romans 8:39 that says absolutely nothing can get between us and God's love because of the way Jesus has embraced us. finding a scripture to go with this page was a little hard, but I'm glad that I chose this one. Even though it is a picture of a woman kind of embracing herself. I just loved that it had the word embrace in it. And even though I have read Romans, I don't really remember the scripture. So one thing I can say about creating a prayer journal for myself and my mom is that I find scriptures that I may have read and forgotten about because I read them in the context of the passage and I didn't take it that way. Even when I went back to read that passage, I was thinking, wow, I should really go back and read Romans again. So yeah, that is something that I really enjoy about my prayer journals, that it opens me up to Bible verses that I may or may not have read, and it opens me to new Bible study plans. So this page that I am creating now, or the next few pages, will be my table of contents. So I'm not sure if I'll use this or not, if I'm being 100% honest. In my bullet journal from last year, in my prayer journal from last year, I did a table of contents and I do use it, but I use it mostly for the prayers that I've written. Sometimes I would like to go back and re-pray over certain things, or I look at them to think of how God has answered a prayer and to use that as my jump start for a new prayer. So I do use my table of contents, even though I didn't use my prayer journal as much as I thought I would last year. I think I still use my table of contents enough to include another one. So with that being said, I am going to create 3 different pages, or I guess 3 different 2-spread layouts for 3 different topics in my prayer journal. So I'm going to cut these 3 pages out in tabs. If you don't know or not, I love Dutch doors. I love the tab doors. And later on in this video, I am going to do some more Dutch doors, but they're going to be a little bit more unique. So stick around for that, because that's going to be really fun. But in the context of these table of contents, I am just going to cut the tabs out and use the 3 different greens and the 3 different shades to use for the 3 different sections. So I'm going to start with the lightest green. I'm going to make 3 colored lines at the top of the first page and the bottom of the second page as like a header and a footer. And then I'm going to skip 6 spaces, leave those blank, and then create 2 colored lines. Now these are not for anything in particular. This is just to give the page some dimension and some color. This green in particular is extremely light and very, very easy to write on top of. So I would suggest, if you do want to do this in your journal, to make sure that you can write on top of the colors. Off camera, I took the darker greens and I made some very thick lines and some very densely colored sections to make sure that I can write on top of it and see it. This last one right here is kind of hard to see on camera, but in person, I can see it very, very well. So I would say to test your colors out before you put them down on paper, just to make sure you can write over them, because that's what the whole purpose of this spread is for. So I did color those tabs in the order of their darkness. I colored them like lightest to first, the middle color, and then the darkest color, so that there is a gradient. That's the word I was looking for. I'm going to end this page with some gold and then some washi tape. And now we are on to the next spread. This next spread is going to be my gratitude log. So I'm going to first start out by decorating the page to the left, which is just my decorative page that is going to say gratitude log. So I am going to be doing another 1-line drawing, and some of these obviously are more than 1 line, like this one. I am going to do it in a continuous line just for her face and the silhouette, but then the flowers themselves, they could technically have been connected to each other, but I decided to just do each flower as 1 line itself. I am doing these 1-line drawings more for the aesthetic of how the sketches of the flowers look instead of the actual concept of just using one line. So I like the simplicity of drawing flowers with these one-line drawings because it is so much easier than trying to draw a realistic flower when I'm just trying to get these spreads done. And these are the easiest flowers to draw. They are just simply 5, maybe as little as 3 big loops that overlap each other, and that's it. I mean, they are really easy. The ones for the faces are a little bit more complicated, and I will actually put a picture of my inspiration for this one-line drawing up on the screen. They're a little bit more difficult, but I do sketch them out first, and I do like erase and redraw them over and over until I like how it looks, and then I do the final sketch in marker in one line. So if you're scared about these and you like how they look, just try them out. Like I've said with everything else, guys, this is your journal. You can do whatever you want. Try it out. See if you like it. So I am going to be doing a gratitude log in a 1 line a day every day. That's the goal. So I thought it would just be really neat to put my gratitude log for all 6 months right at the front so I could see it all together, and I can see my progression and what I'm thankful for as the months go by. So with that being said, of course, I had to make a Dutch door, and I am using the letters of the month, or the first letter of each month, as the tab for that door. If you can tell right here, I have a sticky note that says do not cut. And I do that a lot when I'm doing Dutch doors because I have accidentally cut the last door on accident and I had to rearrange all my spreads, and it's very annoying. So I do use, for these Dutch doors, I did connect the letters obviously to the page, and I just did not cut any of the paper that connects the letter to the page. I know that sounds weird and you guys may be thinking duh, but I just wanted to make that clear because I wanted there to be enough room, or I wanted there to be enough of a connection between the letter and the page, so that you can still see the letters, but they weren't so flimsy that they would kind of fall off. So this is an Artist Loft journal, like I mentioned at the beginning, which is just 100 GSM. It's not 160 like your Archer and Olives or Notebook Therapy journals are. So the pages are a little bit thinner. And with the letters like the F, for example, those are going to be a little bit more flimsy, and I think over time they may wear down a little quicker than, let's say, the M. That's a little bit more sturdy. Also, if you can tell with the M, guys, I actually just started to cut out around the letter, and then I just colored the letter in instead of cutting all the dips out of the letter. I hope that makes sense. I tried to explain that as best as I could, but of course, if you have any questions, just leave me a comment and I will be sure to try to answer them in the comment section, or I may even address it in the next video like I did in this video to the lovely subscriber who asked me about my markers. So on each page, I am just going to highlight the 2 lines for Sunday. So I did use 2 lines for each day just because sometimes my handwriting is kind of big. I like to write in big bold letters sometimes in my gratitude logs. So I used 2 lines for one day, and I highlighted the 2 lines that represent Sunday in a very, very light pink color, just to give the page some pop and so that I could showcase the greens and the pinks together. So on each page, I just drew a different flower drawing, and I did this because I love putting pictures behind words. I don't know how many times I've said it on this channel. I'm so sorry if you're hearing me say it for the 100th time, but I love that aesthetic. So that's why I did it, and I made sure to use some lighter colors that I can write on top of. The whole purpose is the writing and not necessarily the flowers. And I think it'll just be really pretty once I have filled all of those lines in with my gratitude for the year. As you notice, guys, I only did from January to June because I don't know if I am going to use this journal for the entire year. Last year I did switch out my bullet journal for July. My prayer journal, not so much, but that's because I didn't like how I set it up. But that's a whole nother story. So on to this next page. I am going to be doing a spread that I found from another YouTube channel, actually. So this spread is for my Bible reading tracker. And I just did one square for each month of the year. So I do plan to study at least one book of the Bible per month. And I'm just going to start slow. I might do more than one book some months, and that's okay. And I'll put that in the square for that month. I also wrote the months of the year from January to June down at the bottom, just so I can write any notes if I want to. So this next page is going to be for my Names of God page. I do want to learn the names of God, how he is referenced in the Bible. I did this in my prayer journal from last year, but I didn't complete it all the way. I feel like I'm saying that over and over. So basically my goal this year is to actually use my journal. That's my goal for this year. But I just really love the idea of this spread because we all know some of the names of God. But then while I was researching for my mom's prayer journal last year, I was learning that there are a lot that I don't know. So I can't wait to fill this page out. The last page of this spread is going to be for my prayer requests. I'm going to keep this page very simple because this is going to require some writing. I would imagine a lot more writing than I did in my last journal. And I haven't decided if I'm going to write them down on the page with pen or if I'm going to use Post-it notes to put them here and then transfer them to the prayers answered section of this journal. Now, I did not include that in this video because this video is already really long, but maybe I will include it in my January setup. And that will be coming soon. So the last thing I did that I also did not show on camera was to erase all the pencil markings so that all of these pictures can come to life. This is the final flip through, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this setup. I love how these colors turned out. I love this setup. I know I'll probably say that in every video, but I really like this one. So if you liked it, please give me a comment down below in the comment section. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.